leader of character has all the qualities we normally ambition, confidence, courage, intelligence, eloquence, creativity, compassion, and one more thing, which we unfortunately overlook too frequently among civilian leaders. A leader of character
Hey, you're muted too, just FYI. I don't know if you want to be, but
I'm gonna unmute. There I am. I'm unmuted now, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, we have 9 people. I'll wait another minute.
I got 9:57.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I sent out 2 reminders this morning, so you had good retention, like I said. I mean,
We had really good retention from class number 1 to class number 2.
above what we had originally. It was 43 on the first one and 48 on the next.
Wow.
And they stick around to the whole thing, so it's good. It's not like
Yep. Yep. I think we'll continue. I think that this guy Brody, Chris, I don't really know how to use Ideal Estate, but this guy Brody put a link to one of the classes on the site.
Oh, cool. Well, go ahead.
And he thinks that could have a humongous impact.
Good. Well, I was thinking maybe this next round we consider even doing like a Facebook Live. We post the Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if they're not already registered, they can see it. But then to get the documents, we'll have to have them say, go here. And so we have your information to send all the documents from this class.
Hey, you know what I talked about the first class is everybody should post something if they like the class where, you could kind of direct them. You could jump on. And
yeah, let me think through though. Let me think that through on how to do that, because it's not like just strictly posted. I do want to go and take some of these. I took a screenshot from Wednesday's class. I'm going to post it to your Facebook page, and maybe we can have them go like your coaching page and then share the images and a comment. But let me.
I'm going to jump on it. I'm going to jump on now. It's just turning 1. Hello, hello, and hello. How are you? How's everyone doing?
Good.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I'm going to wait just 2 seconds to get situated.
Eric, thank you very much.
For what, buddy?
Teaching me how to get a listing and then have an offer on the first day.
Listen, were way successful prior to meeting me, and you'll continue to be successful. I'm really happy for the success that you're having, Jeff.
Yeah, maybe so, Eric, but it is super easy. Your coaching or non-coaching, as now I'm going to call you John Wooden or Eric Wooden. The bottom line is this, Eric, your edification has taught me to be a better realtor, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. It's nice of you.
Yeah, man.
All
so
right.
I'm in the car
guys.
doing some showings today, so apologize if I have to cut off, but I'm on my phone.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Anything you need, reach out. I'll be happy to gather the information and send it out to you. Guys,
Thank
welcome.
you, sir.
So today's class is not going to be as sexy, clearly, as your listing presentation, your objection handling, pre-listing packet. It's one of my favorite classes, though, because I think it is the most important thing that we do as a professional, and that's really what I call honoring your calendar. Because I believe if you're not honoring your calendar, you're not honoring your time. If you're not honoring your time, the questions that begs to be asked is, if you're not honoring your time, the question that begs to be asked is, are you honoring your profession? And if you're not honoring your profession, are you really honoring the quality of your life? You can't say to the world, treat me as a professional, because that's what I want to be treated as. People are going to treat you how they perceive you as being, right? Would any of you walk into your CPA's office or walk into your doctor's office and show up late for an appointment? And the reality is probably not. You wouldn't do something like that, because the profession, how they act, deems the fact that you would provide them a certain level of respect, professional etiquette. Does that make sense to everybody? Your calendar, I believe, is the absolute most important tool that will lead you to a pot of gold if you honor it. It will absolutely empower you if you choose to honor your calendar, or conversely, it will disempower you if you don't. Your calendar is the tool that identifies you as being a professional, as walking the walk and talking the talk. I mean, how many people on the call today need to work for a living? I certainly do, or I wouldn't be doing this. Maybe I would. I actually like what I do a lot. But the reality is, most of us need to work for a living. And I want you to give thought to what I'm about to say in mid-all. Hold on 1 second, guys. Lots of people are still joining. And I want you to give some thought to what I'm about to say right now. If you have to work for a living, why would we go to work for a complete stranger, be dedicated to putting in an honest 40 hours, be committed to be focused, be professional, showing up on time, and giving all of ourselves to a stranger in order to receive a paycheck and not provide something we own, our own business, that same level of respect? Lisa, does that not sound crazy? I mean, think about that for a second. We're going to help somebody scale and grow their business. Noel, hold on 1 second. People are still coming in. Chris, I'm going to have you add people in so I can kind of focus. And Pedro is saying the link is not working for him. Pedro, are you on now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good deal. So think about that. Why would you work for a complete stranger and give all of yourself and help somebody build a company and earn a paycheck and not do the exact same thing for yourself? It almost sounds like the complete definition of insanity that you wouldn't provide your same business the level of respect that you would give to a complete stranger. So I believe, again, your calendar is the most important topic and tool that I discuss in the 12 lessons that I go over with you. Your calendar, again, is the one tool that will either empower you or disempower you. And the beautiful thing, Adama, is you get to make that choice. Now, would anybody in this call today deliberately walk over to a hot stove, put their hand in their stove, and absolutely burn themselves? That sounds like nuts, right? Nobody would walk over to a hot stove, put their hand in the stove, and burn themselves, right? Because that would inflict pain. That would inflict injury. That's just nutty to even think of doing something like that. But I want to ask you a question. When your days get away from you, when you don't honor your calendar, where you feel like the whole day got away and you didn't have a sense of accomplishment, does that not impact you negatively? Does that not inflict pain? It's a different type of pain, of course, than putting your hand in a stove. But if you wouldn't put your hand on a stove and burn yourself because of the consequences that would happen, then why would you not time block your day to make sure that you had an efficient day and an accomplished day, a productive day, so you didn't beat the living hell out of yourself? I said to you in the first class something I'm going to repeat right now. I think very often people don't take action because in their mind they perceive it as being way, way, way too hard. And I'm going to tell you what's really hard. What's harder than anything else is, I believe, sitting in bed at night and questioning ourselves. How are we going to pay our bills? Are we being disingenuous? Are we going out there each and every day, reaching for the moon and grabbing the stars? Questioning ourselves over and over again. And I would say to you that it takes more pain. There's more effort sitting in bed, questioning how you're going to pay your bills and do everything else than just getting up in the morning and taking action so you have a sense of accomplishment. Does that make sense to everybody? How many people on the call today, honestly, time block your day and feel like each and every day you have a plan in place that will lead you to a pot of gold and put you on the path to being successful?
Well, I have a plan. I don't know if I follow it.
Thank you for being honest. What does it cost you, Jim, when you don't follow it? How does that make you feel?
Feels horrible at the end of the day.
So why would you do something? Why would you do something, bud, that makes you feel uncomfortable or horrible? You're better than that. Yeah. And I want to ask you a question, my friend, if you don't mind me picking on you for a second. May I do that?
No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
When you feel terrible about the action that you take, how does that impact how you interact with the people that you love in your life, like your wife, who you and I have talked about, like your children, like your friends? When you don't feel good about you, how does that impact other areas of your life?
Well, the negativity spills over to them.
So why would you do that? Aren't they worthy of having the best of you?
Yeah, honestly, it's a matter of focus, you know.
It's a matter of being focused. It's a matter of being disciplined. And I believe that honoring your calendar and taking time I believe that honoring your calendar and taking action each and every day is what distinguishes you as a professional. I think it's your actions that people look at, not as your words. Words to me today are absolutely meaningless. I mean, come on, parents on the line. Adama, you have kids? You have kids, right? You know that point in time when you start talking to your kids and they just completely ignore you and you go, well, that was a waste of fresh air,
Yeah.
right? The reality is our actions what speaks to people in the world, because we could say whatever we want, but if you're not honoring your calendar, what that is conveying to the rest of the world that you don't respect what you do for a living and then nobody else should. So I'm going to say to you, it's important to have the right mindset. When you wake up each and every day, taking action, not because, sorry guys, there's so many people coming into this waiting room still. I hope I'm doing this right. Okay. So it's about taking action each and every day, not when you feel like taking action, but each and every day. I have a couple of people on the call today. You know, yesterday, my son came in town. You know, many of you I've talked to about, my son is the love of my life, and he was coming in Wednesday. And I had no sleep. I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I had appointments at 6 a.m. And yesterday, believe me, every bone in my body hurt. I so much didn't want to get out of bed. But the thought process of not taking action, there he is right now. Hi. So the thought process of not taking action never entered my head because of how I would have felt about myself. I'm actually going to play a video which talks about taking action, not when the spirit moves you and not when it will look good in your resume, but taking action each and every day, because that's what you're paid to do. That's what defines you. And that's what illustrates to everybody, from the people closest to us, our children, our significant others, to our colleagues, that we are a professional, not now and then, but every day. I'm going to play this video for you for a quick second. Please listen carefully.
A leader of character has all the qualities we normally associate with leaders: ambition, confidence, courage, intelligence, eloquence, creativity, compassion, and one more thing, which we unfortunately overlook too frequently among civilian leaders. A leader of character is absolutely trustworthy, even in times of great stress, and can be depended upon to put the needs of others, the organization, the community above personal considerations, not now and then, or when the spirit moves them, or when it will look good on their resume, but in every instance.
Is everybody able to hear that?
Yep.
Anybody want to take a guess who that is?
Is that your son?
It is. It is, in fact,
No,
it is in fact my son. It was my son at 10 years old.
yes.
I'm gonna brag on him for a second.
Wow.
And my son has 4 black belts at 19 years old. 4. I mean, it's an accomplishment to get 1 black belt in your life is something that's really special and meaningful. And to watch him, his level of commitment, his dedication, his focus for 13 to 14 years to go 3 times a week and take this seriously and accomplish what he has to. You know, I bristle with pride because I think it talks about commitment. And I think what he said in that video, and I've been playing that video for a long time, it's that you don't take action when the spirit moves you. You don't take action when it looks good in your resume. You take action each and every time, because that's what you're supposed to do in life. Taking action when you don't want to take action. So Jackson, why don't you come over and say hello? This is my former 10-year-old who is now 19 years old. So you can come over and say hello to everybody. That's my guy.
Hello, everybody.
That's my guy.
Hi. You're awesome. You're awesome.
Oh, he's awesome. Back then.
Yeah.
I really am proud of him. I really am proud of him. And he's taught me a lot of lessons about staying in the course, even when you don't want to stay the course. So I'm going to get back to, again, your calendar is the one source that will empower you or disempower you. And you guys get to make that decision each and every day. A couple of things that I want to go through with you about calendaring. And your calendar is your roadmap. There's an old adage and it says, people don't plan on failing. What do? Noel, you ever heard of this? People don't plan on failing. What do they fail to do?
They fail to plan.
They do. They fail to plan. Your calendar is your blueprint. Your calendar is your roadmap. Why not time block every activity of your day So you, at the end of the day, could look back and say, wow, today was successful. It's not about deals. It's about taking action and knowing that your business is constantly moving in the right direction. I had a conversation with Adama the other day, and I said to her, Adama, you're great the moment you adopt your greatness. And I'm going to say that to each and every one of you. You become great, Michael, when you say to yourself, today I choose to take action, and I choose to be a professional, and I choose to honor my calendar and move my business in the right direction. And when you do that, that's what makes you feel good about yourself. That allows you to be a better lover, friend, coworker, neighbor. It's just better. So I start every day taking action. And my action is that myself, like any of you, I have good days and I have bad days, right? We're all human beings. And my focus each and every day is programming myself to take action, even when I don't want to take action. Does that make sense, Maria? I want to take action when upstairs I don't want to take action. I've got to program myself that I don't have any other choice than to each and every day move the ball forward. Let me share a document with you. I go through a morning ritual. Which class is this? I believe it is not that one. It's right here. Okay. So I use a morning ritual to make sure that each and every day that I am locked in emotionally and prepared to take action in a way that is going to make me feel good, in a way at the end of the day that I'm going to focus. And it starts, and it happened this morning. I had an early meeting with Pedro Andrade. I met him a half hour away, and I woke up tired this morning. And before I get out of bed, I ask myself 3 questions, and this is a great exercise for all of you to do. And I ask myself 3 hard questions where the answers are so debilitating, the consequences are so gruff, that it's like someone sticks a cannon, you know where, and shoots me the heck out of bed. And the 3 questions that I typically ask myself are the following. If I choose to lay here in bed today and procrastinate and not take action, does that move me towards my goals, or does that move me away from my goals? If I choose to lay here in bed and not take action, am I illustrating for the person that I say I love more than anything, my son, am I illustrating the attributes of what I call a winner, or perhaps the attributes of a loser? And am I exhibiting quality behavior? If I choose to lay here in bed today, am I not the ultimate hypocrite that says they want to be great and tells my child to be great, but I don't represent what greatness is? So I ask myself 3 questions where the answers are so horrific that I will do anything not to embrace or feel that pain. Does that make sense, Jim? So when you and I talked yesterday, bud, and we talked about staying the course, do you understand how I'm setting myself up where the consequences are so dire to those questions that I wouldn't dream of procrastinating? It's not part of my DNA. It's no longer part of my DNA.
Yeah.
I also start an exercise, and it begins when I'm in the bathroom in the morning, getting ready, when I'm shaving, when I'm showering, and I say positive affirmations, and I mean one after another. You know, I'm a strong and confident man, capable of obtaining anything that I set out to do. I don't want you getting up in the morning and putting on the news and listening that there was a fire in downtown Miami that killed 8 people, or what the murder rate is like in the United States today. What I'm doing is I'm hammering myself with positive thoughts so I feel like I could attack my day with a sense of purpose. Really, really important. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember the time, not that long ago, I'm standing in the bathroom shaving, and there's a knock on the door, and Jackson says to me, Dad, I want to let you know, I think that you are really insane. You're virtually out of your mind. I said, why is that? He said, I'm listening to you do these affirmations, and it's like you're seducing yourself in the morning. And I thought, what a great name for a book. Shouldn't we be doing that? We spend so much time seducing people to love us. Why not show ourselves some love? So thank you, by the way, Jax. So it is about putting positive thoughts out there consistently, and not letting anything else in. Listen, I realize there are people in life that sometimes have negative mindsets. Don't let that in your life. Block that out. Doesn't mean you can't love them, but stop letting people sabotage your greatness or get in the way of having positive feelings for yourself. The third thing, and I'm not going to sit here and preach to anybody about religion, but I take a moment every day, instead of thinking what I don't have, taking a moment to have gratitude for everything that I do have, the most wonderful child, people that I love, the fact that I live on the beach in Miami, the fact that I travel, that I have a great family, that I have my health. I look for the minimal things, and I'm thankful for that, and I take a moment to be humble and ask for some direction throughout the day. Take a moment to get grounded, and I try to practice this in the morning, and I try to practice this in the evening. Number 4, and I love this, and this is called a thoughtful mind. You go to Google and sign up for Thoughtful Mind, free. And it's a quote, and it could be a quote from Gandhi, from Martin Luther King, from Bill Gates, but it's typically something that is super, super positive. So what I love to do is just get up in the morning, look at my phone, and see a quote of something that's positive, and that's something that is incredibly, incredibly impactful. Make sense? And the last thing I do when I have time, I don't do this every morning, but I try to watch a motivational video. My favorite video to watch is it's a compilation called Mind Shift. And it's Anthony Robbins, it's Les Brown. It is a great video. And folks, if that doesn't motivate you to light the world on fire, I don't know what will. Embrace your greatness. All of us have what I call this inner child that wants to be loved, that wants greatness in their life. Don't let go of your dreams, man. Because if you can't dream it, you can't build it. If you can't dream about it, you can't build it. I got a really good friend. He's become like a really close friend of mine, and we're part of a group together. And we're always talking about starting or stopping this business. And I always say to him, dude, you are so talented. You're so successful. Look in the mirror and embrace your greatness. Let that greatness flow. The agents that are doing rolling significant numbers and doing north of 100 transactions, trust me, they sit in the toilet the exact same way that you do. The only difference is they don't let things get in their way. They're out there with a focus each and every day, committed to being the best that they can be. And you deserve to feel that way. And I said to you in the past, you can't say to your kids, reach for the moon and grab the stars. Live a life with passion. If anybody, I have a 19-year-old, and it would be hypocritical for me to say to him, go after your dreams. You could accomplish anything in this world that you want to if he didn't feel like I lived my life with a sense of passion. Set an example. If you really love your kids, set the path for what greatness looks like. Because the difference between being ordinary and extraordinary is just putting forth this much extra effort so you could be extraordinary. Does that make sense to everybody? Comments? Boy, I went on and on. I don't like to talk that much. I usually like to ask questions. Woo! I don't know what got into me.
Well, that was the Holy Spirit speaking through your mouth.
Welcome.
Yeah. Going back to the things that I used to do.
Why did you let it get away from you, Adama? I'm just gonna put it in the air. Hold on 1 second. Adama, why did you let it get away from you?
I guess because I had so many personal changes that I had to really not do real estate, or not really do it. I was still, licensed and everything, but not really do it, and focus on it in my personal life in such a way that it would run. Now I've done that. So what a blessing it is for you to peel that scar off of my mind and remind me of these things, because I know they work.
I want to say something to you, Dem, and I want you to listen to the words. And I'm not saying this as an affront to everybody. I can't believe I'm going to quote my ex-wife, who happens to be one of my best friends. But listen, guys, for every problem, there is a solution. For every problem, there's a solution. Winners solve problems. Losers, what do? They dwell on those problems. Act like a winner. Solve problems. Stop making excuses that inhibit you from being great. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to the people that you love in your life. It's not fair to anybody. Winners solve problems. Losers dwell on them. If you want to be a winner, then take the appropriate course of action.
Mhm.
Hey, Eric,
Thank
can I
you.
say something?
Please, Phil.
One of the things, in my career, in my life that can reflect really well to this, I just want to share it because, other people.
Please. I love this, by the way. I love when you guys speak and share. I don't want to be in the bully pulpit.
It comes to a level of comfort, like where you set yourself to a level of comfort, and you get out of that comfort to get to your goals, and you accomplish them pretty quickly when you get out of your comfort, And then once you get there, it's kind of like a not a reset button, but it's a comfort button that you kind of just migrate back to. And then you kind of fall out of that whole zone you're in, of pushing yourself and being uncomfortable. So one of the things I do is I try to set things and have things I'm working on that just keep me uncomfortable. Because whenever I'm uncomfortable and I do the things I don't want to do, it's just man, it's lightning fast how things happen. And it's just because I'm doing things I don't want to do. I'm out of that comfort zone. But when I get in that comfort zone, man, you can slip into that fast and be there for a minute without even realizing it. And you're like, wow, what am I doing? Let me get back on this. And you got to start it's just like going to the gym and working out. You don't want to do it, but when you start doing it, it becomes comfort to do it and not to not do it after a while,
I agree with you. I appreciate you saying that.
So
I'd like to share something with you since you were so honest. I appreciate you saying that, Phil. I would like to share something with you guys since you were so honest. I had a great breakfast this morning with Pedro Andrade. I really enjoy Pedro's company. And I have had a pretty successful career where I've made a good sum of money and then lost it, and then made it and lost it, then made it and lost it. Whether I was in investment banking and real estate, been very entrepreneurial in my life. And I went through a tough time, not this past April, the April before. I had 8 mortgage offices around the country, and the coaching class used to work where I would put on these coaching classes. I didn't do mortgages myself, but I had 8 offices. I had about 50 or 60 loan officers. And the goal was to provide realtors tools and systems where they would feel compelled to embrace a reciprocal relationship. And as life would have it, I've had a fallout with the CEO of this bank, and I wound up losing 8 offices last April. And I lost a ton of money, and I became back in a rebounding mode. And Pedro and I were sharing a dialogue at breakfast this morning. And there is something, I said to him, I like the fact that I'm 59 years old and I'm rebuilding. I love the fact that there's a challenge there. I love the fact that I still have my health and a sense of passion and that I believe that I can accomplish anything. So Phil, it really kind of resonates what you just shared. I was out of my comfort zone and I had one choice. I have 2 choices. I could have sat back and acted paralyzed, or I could have come out swinging for the fences. And if I was going to be true to, right, Phil?
Since I was a kid, multiple businesses, nightclubs, restaurants, cigar lounges. I'm still partners in a lot of things, and I do a lot of business consulting and business brokering. So
awesome.
I've been up, down, left, right, and it's not even about money and making things happen. It's more about accomplishing and completing something. Like getting something done. The money just comes. It's the byproduct when you do the right stuff and you make things happen. So
you beat me to the punch. I was just going to say.
It's you do the right thing and it's just the challenge. And once you complete it, it's like you get further and further ahead. But you gotta, another thing is when I was younger, I've been in this business since I was 19. I'm 43 now. And, it's one of the things, when I was younger, I used to set goals. Oh, if I get $1 million, or I get $1 million deal. And every time I set a goal and I get there, you think you're going to be happy and you just get emptier. The bigger the goals, the bigger the goals that you accomplish, you start accomplishing them faster and you get emptier as you get there. And one of the things I realized was, I did some some classes and some different motivational stuff. And through those journeys of learning different philosophies, I realized that, the success really comes from leaving people better off and helping people get where they're going. And then byproduct becomes, that's how you make money. Money comes from people. It doesn't come from, unless you own a bar, people drink. Money comes from liquor. But that's one business you can make money being a dingbat, But
Hey, Phil, for the sake of time, a lot of quality stuff that you just conveyed there. So want to kind of touch on what Phil said, a lot of great information that he just conveyed to you. I believe that making money is in fact a byproduct of taking action and having success. And I never sit there counting the dollar or looking at the size of a transaction. To me, it's about taking action over and over again and making money is a byproduct of taking action and having success. So really important, really, really important. So I'm going to talk about a couple of golden rules when putting together your calendar, and I want you to consider doing the following. Anybody have a week at a glance calendar in front of them today? A week at a glance calendar? You guys know what that is? Yep, Pat, I see Patty holding one up. I see Philip holding one up. A week at a glance calendar breaks your week into days, and then you're able to time block by the hour. I'm going to suggest that all of you go out and purchase a week at a glance calendar, or as a matter of fact, you could typically get them from the title companies. They'll give them away to you for free. How do you rid yourself of bad habits and create good habits? Anybody have any idea? Do the same exercise over and over again. Some people say 26 days, some people say 28 days. I just say 30 days. Take action and do something that you don't typically like doing over and over for 30 days so it becomes habitual in nature. I want you to grab a calendar and I want you to physically write out specifically what your daily calendar looks like so you can time block your entire day. And I want it in a written format, and I'll explain to you why in a second. I know some of you are thinking, Eric, please come into the 21st century. The reason I want a written calendar that I carry with me at all times is that calendar is my blueprint for success. If I look down at my calendar and I deviate from what's in my roadmap, there is a sense of terrible guilt that overwhelms me, that where my right foot wants to come up and kick myself right in the ass to put me back on track, Lisa. Does that make sense? I want your calendar to create a sense of guilt and disempowerment if you don't honor and respect it. So when I'm looking at my calendar, if I look down and say, uh-oh, I've deviated, I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to beat myself up emotionally. I'm more apt to take action and go back and put myself on the course that's going to lead me to that pot of gold. Does that make sense? Maria Villalobos, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Sir.
I know you're super tech savvy, but I want a written calendar for the next 30 days to adopt positive behavior patterns. Number 2, my calendar is typically in place by 5 p.m. Sunday evening. And that means that Jackson and I could be out doing everything. We're pretty active, right? We could be out doing whatever we want to, but at 5 o'clock, I am stopping what I'm doing and I'm putting my plan of action in place. So by Wednesday or Thursday of that week, I'm not feeling like a dog circling around trying to catch its tail. My calendar is my blueprint. And I will say, I need to take 10 or 15 minutes and organize my week so I'm there for you during the week. I want to make sure that I'm feeling not out of control, and I need a couple of moments. I need 15, 20 minutes to put my calendar in place and time block my week. Now listen, when that calendar is in place, you don't have the right to change that calendar, nor does anybody else. That is your work Bible, so to speak. Your calendar is something that should not be modified. Now, if there was something wrong with my son and there was a medical emergency, of course I would modify, but modifying your calendar should be the exception, not the rule. Could we agree on that? Your calendar, modifying your calendar should be the exception, not the rule. I don't know if you could see my calendar on the screen here, but this is a typical calendar day for me. I mean, can you guys see my phone?
No,
No? Lisa's going no.
just
No?
white light.
All right. So my entire my entire calendar is blocked. It's time blocked. So I know specifically where I have to be and who I have to be with. I couldn't help but be successful, right? So modifying my calendar is the exception, not the rule. Number 3, and this is going to be hard for some of you. Please listen carefully what I'm about to tell you. Could we agree that we want people in our life that we perceive as being professional and balanced? Would any of you work with an attorney that said, hey, Todd Watkins, come over my house Saturday or Sunday, 1 or 3 p.m. It doesn't make a difference. Whenever you want, just pop by. What would that indicate to you about the level of professional services that attorney is going to provide?
They're not planned and ready to take on the day.
So why would you do anything differently than your doctor or your attorney? I want you to have balance. Philip, you ready? 1 day or 2 days off on a week. And I promise, if you're productive the other 5 days, you're going to see your business skyrocket. Take the time to recharge your battery so you don't feel like your life is out of control. You have the right to shut it down and to enjoy and give love to those people that are important to you in your life. And I mean it. I want you to take an X and put it right through your calendar on the 1 day or 2 days that you're going to take off. It's absolutely imperative. And I wish, quite frankly, I did that more. I mean, my son's off to college next year, and I can't tell you how many times I would take a phone call at 6, 7. He'd say, Dad, will you please shut off your damn phone? You have the right, when you close your office door or shut off the lights, to feel like you own your life, man. And if you're not exhibiting that to people, then you're showing them you're unprofessional and out of control, because people want to work with people that are balanced. And I mean, it should be on your voicemail. Hey, everyone, I just want to let you know it's Eric Orland. Today is Thursday, whatever today is. Today's Friday. What's today, June 5th? Today's Friday, June 5th. And I just wanted everyone to know that I'll be taking the day off. I'll be spending time with loved ones in an effort to recharge my battery. I'll be back at it hard. I'll be back hard at it tomorrow. If it's an emergency, please feel free to shoot me a text. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow. That's it. That indicates that you're a professional. And I want to tell you something, and Philip, I don't know if you would agree with this or not. If somebody doesn't respect that, you don't want to work with them. But what I see in the industry is the following. I see the fact that we don't respect our calendars. And what we're typically doing is we're stealing time from Peter to pay Paul. And who suffers is the people that we really love in our life, number one. Second thing that I notice is that we want deals. I hate that word, deals. We want transactions so badly. They have to come together, and we need this in order to pay our bills. Well, folks, if you spent more time prospecting and had a plethora of buyers and sellers, you'd never have to compromise your professional values. If you've got a pain in the ass client who's demanding of you and telling you when you should work, bye-bye, adios. Because that person is going to sabotage your business. That person is there to disempower you, not empower you. Make sense? So 1 day,
Absolutely.
preferably 2 days off a week, so you can have a balanced and healthy life where you shut it down, where you recharge your battery. And you know who's really good with this? Is Maria Villalobos. I cannot tell you how many times she said to me, hey, Eric, do you mind if I reach out and do this tomorrow? I'm with my kids or I'm doing something. And I love that because it's having healthy boundaries. And if you don't have healthy boundaries, you're not running a healthy business. Number four,
Wow.
40% of your day needs to be spent lead generating, prospecting, and business developing. And that means, folks, nothing gets in the way of this. Nothing. And I'm going to share with you the top producers that I have coached. Some of the top producers in the country probably don't prospect 40% of the time. As I look around at both pages of this call, everyone here, if you're out lead generating and prospecting on a continuum, could do 4 to 5 transactions a month easily. Absolutely easily. You don't need to work 80 hours and have a huge team. You need to spend at least 40% of your time lead generating, prospecting, or business developing, and nothing and I mean nothing, gets in the way of that. That means no client calls when you're prospecting. That means no third-party vendors. That is your time to show you and your business some love and focus on what's important, so you could best prepare, so you could best take care of you and your families.
Totally agree with that.
And number 5, remember the last thing that I discussed with you in the last class? It was your prospecting tracker. Your prospecting tracker should mirror your calendar. Exactly. So if you have on your calendar that you're going to prospect, if you're time blocking that on your calendar, it should mirror what's in your prospecting tracker. Your calendar and your prospecting tracker should be synced up together. And if there's an inconsistency there, you need to look at that and analyze that you're not following through on your commitments. And when you don't follow through on your commitments, how does that make you feel? Not good. So let's talk about a calendar. I want you to envision a week at a glance calendar. What should be on your calendar? And I believe all personal and professional activities should be on your calendar. If you want to start working out, it should be on your calendar. It should be right there in your calendar, and you should be forced to take action. But other than personal activities, running a vibrant real estate office, what should be on our calendars?
Prospecting time.
40% of your day should be spent prospecting. What do those prospecting activities look like? Let's get a little granular here. What does those prospecting activities look like? We talked about, what was the first thing we talked about? The 7 or 8 different ways to build a real estate business. We talked about walking your
Farm.
farm, creating a farm area. That should be in your calendar. Whether you want to walk it in 2 days or if you want to do 100 homes once a week, that should absolutely be on your calendar, should it not?
Yeah.
We talked about doing the grind around we talked about doing the grind around our open houses, expired listings, properties just listed or sold. That should be in your calendar. If you're holding an open house on Sunday from 1 to 4, on my calendar, Wednesday and Thursday, it would be time blocked for me to go around and invite the neighbors to the open house and take them through the general prospecting script so I could build that all-important database. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Michael Friedman, you with me, buddy? Awesome. What else should be in your calendar? We talked about identifying a bankruptcy attorney, divorce attorney, an estate attorney, a probate attorney, HR managers, insurance agents, CPAs, handyman, property managers, right? We talked about the entire gamut. This isn't going to happen overnight. If Lisa was Zambrano, I was calling you Lisa Zambrano all morning. Lisa Zambudo, if I was trying to develop a relationship with Lisa and Lisa was an HR manager, trust me, she's not sitting at her desk Monday morning going, you know, I'm waiting for this realtor, Eric Orland, to give me a call. It requires some time and effort to nurture these relationships. That should be on your calendar, right? Really, really important. So I want you not to just have prospecting. I want you to get granular, and I want you to time block the prospecting activities that you're going to partake in, that you're going to participate in, so we could start analyzing what is yielding you the best results. What else should be in your calendar?
Networking.
That's absolutely right. That should be on your calendar, a networking group, or better yet, you ready? I'm going to take it a step further, Adama. Lunch should be in your calendar every day. And how I break up my week is the following way. At least one day a week, I have multiple coffees with people. At least one day a week, I'm having lunch with a sphere of influence that's in a position to refer me business every single week. Once a week, I'm sitting in solitude and I am practicing my scripts. I'm internalizing my communication pattern and I'm thinking about any marketing plans or business ideas. Twice a week, I'm shutting it down and I'm just laughing to break up the monotony of my day, and I'm meeting with friends, no business. So twice a week, I'm sitting with friends. spending quality time, not talking business, breaking up the monotony of my week. One time I'm meeting with a sphere of influence. One time I'm sitting in solitude. And the other day is my networking group. It's 5 days. Good call, Adama. What else should be in your calendar, guys? I want you to think.
Social media presence.
Okay. Social media is done during your office time. My office, I had 2 office times. Watch how important this is. In the morning, I was in my office at 8 o'clock. That didn't mean 8:01. It didn't mean 8:02. And guys, I don't want you to think I'm some anal retentive nutcase. Believe me, I like to have fun. But if I can't set a precedent, if I can't show what being prompt and professional looks like, how do I expect my office to be professional? So I was in my office at 8 o'clock. And I was ready to work at 8. At 8 o'clock, you ready? That was my time to answer all phone calls in the morning. That was my time to what I call map out my day. If I wanted a door knock or in certain areas or go into a farm area, I would map exactly where I was going to that day. Does that make sense to everybody? And respond to any of my third-party vendors. That was my office time in the morning that typically took place from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I then had office time in the afternoon, and that meant that I was done prospecting at 4 p.m. I was back in my office, and this was critical, Philip. Why? This is when I implemented the most important aspects of making sure that I run a professional entity. And what I would do at 4 o'clock is I would, and I'm going to talk about this, is going to be the second half of our class, I would implement my drip campaign. So the prospects that I had identified, I would utilize my system to ensure I was moving those relationships forward using my drip campaign. I would push out all marketing materials. I'd prepare for listing. I'd prepare for any listings I may have that night, and I would review any contracts for an hour and a half. So in the afternoon, look how focused this is. It's just absolutely dialed in. My afternoon was my drip campaign, reviewing contracts, preparing for listings, and pushing out any marketing materials. Make sense to everybody? What else should be on your, I want you to think, guys, what else should be on your calendar?
REOs.
Say again, Pedro?
REOs.
That should be a part of your prospecting, right? That should be right on your calendar. But what else should be in your calendar? Everybody filled out their economic model. Are you really clear about how many listing appointments and buyer appointments you need to be on?
Listing appointments.
Yeah, I did.
Say it again, Lisa.
Appointments and showings.
You bet. Watch. Critical. Very critical what I'm about to tell you. Everybody on this call should have finished their economic model. You should also be reaching out to me to have a one-on-one appointment with me so I can review that with you. Chris is going to post it in the chat right now, but I would get on my calendar over the course of the next week or two so we can analyze your business. But on my calendar, what I did is I sank up my economic model with my calendar. So in other words, if I knew, Noel, that I had to meet with 4.8 buyers, those listing appointments were actually put on my calendar. And then it was my responsibility as a professional to make sure that those appointments were filled. So I take my, Lisa, does that make sense what I'm saying? I take my listing appointments and I take my buyer consultations and I sync up my calendar on economic model to ensure that I have a game plan in place that ensures that I'm going to hit my numbers. Your economic model and your calendar should be synced up together. What else should be on your calendars?
How about training or education?
You bet. So training and education should be on your calendar. You know, whether you are doing whether you're working with a coach, whether you are going to events in a particular year. For me, one of the days that I sat in solitude, Jim, I was making sure that I was really doing some, I was being really introspective about my business and I guess doing coaching. But when I'm in solitude, I'm working on my scripting, which is the most important thing that you could do. Because at the end of the day, your communication skills and your ability to foster and cement relationships will determine the level of your success. What else should be in your
things that happen on my properties pop up on my calendar because I always call ahead of time and I prep the houses so the lights are on. A lot of my houses are vacant. In the community I farm, they're second homes. So I always prep them before they get there and check and make sure all the lights are out and et cetera after they leave. So those have to be on the calendar. And then I do follow-up calls.
I love it.
Yeah, not everybody's good at doing their feedback, even though it's requests, but I want to know why, what did they love about it? What did they not love about it? We have a lot of fees in the community, and usually the clients don't understand it. The buyers, if I'm not showing them, they don't understand it. So I want to make sure they understand. It's a country club. So it's a different, a lot of people moving from the north here don't understand the fee structure. So I always want to make sure they understand it. The paperwork's there, but it's confusing a lot of times. So I do follow-up calls.
Excellent. Guys, what else should be in your calendar? You guys have broker tours? Anybody go on broker tours in your areas? I know some areas have them, others don't. To me, it's essential to go on a broker tour. Why do you think that is? It's not for free food, I could promise you that.
Networking.
And you know what's in the market. You know what's in the market.
Damn, and Lisa, you just knocked the cover off the ball. So there are two reasons that you want to go on a broker tour. Number one, the more information that we have, the more intelligent we sound. Could we all agree on that? If you're not out there and you don't have a clear understanding about the inventory, how do you convey that to your clients? Number one. Number two, and Lisa just hit this, if I was on a broker tour and I was walking into properties, right? What I would do is if I saw Philip Simonetta walking around and he was an agent next to me, I would gently put my arm on him and say, hey, Philip, great home, huh? By the way, have you seen my new listing right down the street? It's priced $5,000 cheaper and is in incredible shape. Are you currently working with any buyers in that particular price point who may take advantage of seeing such a property? It is a selling opportunity. What does ABC stand for?
Always be closing.
Always be closing, Michael. Correct. Always be closing. Use your broker opens as an opportunity. Remember, what's the main responsibility of a good listing agent?
Sell your house.
Sell the property.
Get the other agents excited about bringing through their qualified buyers by promoting it properly. Use your broker opens to excite and motivate. What else should be in your calendar? This is my favorite, I think. What else should be in your calendar? Does anybody didn't say anything today, but listen to this? Todd Watkins, this is going to take your business to the next level, my man.
All right.
And you're going to love this in a listing presentation. On your calendar, you are going to have client night on your calendar. You're going to have client night on your calendar to contact every seller, and you're going to implement it today. And I don't care if you have no listings or 50 listings. Watch the beauty of how this works. How many of you on the call today like being called by your sellers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Isn't that great? What are you doing this very moment other than going to the bathroom to market my home? Ridiculous, right? We need to set up professional guidelines how we're interacting with our seller clients. I want client night on your calendar to set the parameters, to set boundaries of having a healthy relationship. So when you are on a listing appointment, listen carefully how this works. You are going to simply say to your clients the following. I'm actually going to show this to you. I wasn't going to show this to you, but I'm going to show this to you.
While you're pulling that up, Eric, I think that going on tours like that is a great way to generate content for your social.
Say that again, please.
I think that going on broker tours like that is a great way to generate some content for your social too.
I agree, bud, completely. I agree 1000%. All right, I'm going to share this with you. Listing presentation. This is my listing presentation. No, that's not my listing presentation. Bear with me for 1 second as I pull this up. I promise it will be worth the wait. Okay. Hey, Chris, can you share screen? 5 to 6, here we go. Okay, you guys see the listing presentation?
Yes,
You
sir.
guys see this? Okay. Okay. You're going to have this, right? So not next class. Next class, I'm going to do your open house and I'm going to do your pre-listing packet. But on your listing presentation, you are going to use client night as an ability to close. It's called a trial close. So when you're in a listing presentation, I never understood waiting till after the presentation, go, what do you think? What do you think that I'm wearing a blue shirt, that I'm having a bad hair day? I mean, the reality is I never understood that. Your listing presentation should mirror your first kiss. I remember when I was sitting in a movie theater and I was a young boy and I saw the first kiss, I remember getting out of the movie theater and saying to my mom, hey, how does this whole thing work? You know, you just grab them by the hair and bring them in, or I mean, and she said, no, honey, it's a natural, it's something that happens natural. It's a natural progression. And the same thing holds true on your listing presentation. You are doing what we call trial closes or giving small pecks before you lean in for the big kiss. And a great trial close is the following, and this plays into client night. Watch. Patty, our communicating effectively is essential in getting you the results you want, need, and desire. There's a lot of information which I'm going to need to keep you updated on when marketing, selling, and negotiating the sale of your property. Never say selling your home. You don't sell, you're minimizing your value. You market, you sell, and you negotiate. So there's a lot of information which I'm going to need to keep you updated on when marketing, selling, and negotiating the sale of your property. Patty, could you be available for us to speak between 6 and 7 p.m. on Thursday evenings? I want to provide you with important feedback from the buyers and agents that have come through the home and address any questions that you may have for me. Patty? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. Yes, that sounds great.
Can you be available for us to speak between on Thursday evening between 6 and 7 o'clock? Say yes.
Yes.
What has Patty just done, folks?
Took an agreement to work with you.
Made a commitment.
Patty just hired me to be her realtor. If I'm going to be the one that's conveying important and relevant information from the buyers and agents that are coming through the house, and Patty is now going to be available to speak to me on Thursday between 6 and 7, Patty has hired me. Is that correct, Philip? This is called a trial close. This is giving a peck before you lean in for the big kiss.
Mm-hmm.
It's unnatural to give a presentation and then say at the end of the presentation, what do you think? What do you think about what? You want to secure a commitment during the presentation where it's natural. You want a trial close. I'm going to tell you, this is one of the reasons that I was so successful. So some of you that are saying, Eric, I'm only having success on 30, 40, 50% of your listing presentations, you're not trial closing. It's very hard for somebody to take back something that they've given for you. So Noel, would you be available to speak to me on Thursday between 6 and 7? Because there's a lot of information I'm gonna need to convey from the buyers and the agents that have come through your home. What am I doing is I'm getting a commitment, but I'm putting healthy boundaries, Michael Friedman, I'm putting healthy boundaries around our working relationship. Noel knows now he's not calling me 24/7 and he's just hiring me. Todd Watkins, does this make sense?
Oh, yeah.
The third reason you want to have client night, you ready? Is to get a price reduction. Stop thinking that your marketing plan is going to distinguish you in the market. What makes a home sell? Come on, guys. Let's be honest. We're all realtors in this call. Say it again, Adama.
Price.
80% of it's price.
Price.
And let me tell you something. If a home doesn't sell, don't tell somebody to lower the price of their home. Ask them, hey, Will Estrada, your home has been in the market now for over a month. We have had minimal showings and no offers. Would you agree that a market speaks to us if we choose to listen to us?
Absolutely.
Will, what do you think the market is conveying to us? Now, I could be a weak agent and tell you what you want to hear, or I could be a strong agent and convey what you need to hear. Will, how would you like me to move forward?
Apparently, the obvious option is to reduce the price. There's nothing else we can do.
Do it in the form of a question. So Client Night gives you the ability to trial close, set up healthy guidelines or boundaries around your working relationship, and it allows you the opportunity every week, if that home has not sold, to take them through a price reduction technique. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be known as the agent that takes lots of listings that doesn't sell. It's not a good brand. You want to be the agent that gets the results that their agents are that their clients are seeking. I'm going to send you out my calendar. You'll have it this afternoon. I want to thank Chris Pacqual, by the way, who's done a great job in getting you guys out the information. And I could not have put on this class without him. But I want to, I'm going to get you out my calendar. What I want you to do is, again, take the time to time block your calendar. Those of you that work closely with me, trust me, I will stay on top of you about this. You know that I'm a pain in the rear end. I can't help myself. But I want to make sure that you are poised for success. Your calendar is your roadmap, and it takes less work to set it up, put it in place, and honor it than having all of the negative ramifications to not having it in place and a blueprint. Pedro, you and I talked about this morning in person. Was this helpful?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't feel overwhelmed. I have a son who's probably going to kill me for saying this, who comes to me feeling overwhelmed sometimes. And what I'll say to him is, make a list before you go to bed. How many of you go to bed sometimes? I know I'm sometimes guilty of this when I get super tired. And you think of everything you have to do the next day, and you can't go to sleep because it's right there in the forefront of your mind. And how long would it take you to put together a priority list where you go through the next day and go cha-ching, 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 check off? The last thing in closing about calendar that I'd like you to do is, before you go to bed at night, take that week at a glance calendar and take a yellow highlighter and pat yourself in the back and give yourself some love for your accomplishment that day. Take a yellow highlighter and highlight everything you do today and say, I'm wonderful, I'm terrific, I'm over the top. And acknowledge what you've been able to accomplish, because nobody in the world completes you. You complete yourself by taking action each and every day and feeling good about that.
Can I ask a question, Eric?
Please.
So we talked a lot, you and I did yesterday, about calendars, and you talked a lot about it today. If you're having the success that we want to have, there's going to be more and more activity that needs to be planned. On the buyer side, showing homes, on the listing side, doing CMAs and stuff like that. So your recommendation for putting blocks of time in your calendar for that would be what?
I'm going to say to you, Phil, I'm going to say to you, Jim, I'm sorry, that, I did 128 units my second year. And I don't think I was better or worse than anybody else. That I can tell you for sure. But what I do believe is that I worked a solid 8 to 10 hours a day. And I'm not going to put anybody on the spot on this call. Well, I'm going to put Todd. I'm really close to Todd. I'm going to put you on the spot. Todd does north of $500,000 in commissions every year. He's a superstar agent, and he's just tapping the surface. There's no doubt in my mind that Todd could do $1 million if he wanted to do $1 million. Todd, no BS. How much of your day is wasted? Out of a full 8 or 10 hours, how much of that day do you think you're being efficient and productive? Give it to us straight. Be honest.
I'm lucky maybe 2 hours a day if it's efficient. I mean, I'm like balls to the wall prospecting is really the only time I'm efficient. Everything else, I get hung up on stupid stuff all day long. I'm all sorts of stuff thrown at me. All sorts
Jim,
of
do you know why I asked Todd that question? Because if I went down the row of people, I went to Will, I went to Pedro, I went to Noel, I went to Rosa, I went to Adama, I could go all along here, Jamie Perez, Michael Friedman. I'm going to guess that if people were being really honest, they would say to you, as a real estate professional, they are probably not productive 50+% of their day. And that's why I started off the conversation, buddy, saying that if you would give that same level of effort and commitment and dedication and focus to a complete stranger, why wouldn't you do it for yourself? That's the question that begs to be asked. When you said, Eric, you know, when we get so busy, I want to become that busy and then have that conversation. You understand my point? Jim, you understand my point?
Yeah.
I mean, Todd does a $500,000 commission in the state of Washington. I mean, there's several people in the call that do over $500,000 in commission. You know,
My average sales price is $230. So I have to sell a lot to get there.
I think we spend a lot of time on ourselves deceiving ourselves. And I think that by honoring your calendar, keeping it written down, and noting what you're doing and the accomplishments that you have, it's like holding up a mirror where you're no longer lying to yourself and saying, I'm efficient. But I'm going to tell you, if you're working, and I know some of the top agents in the country that I've coached, I guarantee them, most of them are not efficient. I wouldn't call them being efficient more than 75% of the time.
But I can re-answer your question, Eric, when you asked me, why did I get away from the things that were working? I lost my coach. I didn't have a coach, and I need a coach. And I'm so blessed to have found you. I asked Marie yesterday, I said, am I still alive, or am I dead and gone to heaven to have found Eric? Am I still alive and I got him? What? Thank God.
Thank you for saying that, but I want to say something to you, damn it. You know, I don't believe in coaching. I don't believe in most coaching, to be honest with you. I think it's unfair to charge agents money to coach them, because at the end of the day, none of these coaches are famous psychologists. There is no Sigmund Freud out there as a coach. Let's just be really honest, right? Most of these coaches, they're going to motivate us to take action. Man, if somebody's got to motivate me to take care of my family, I got serious issues. I mean, so the reality is that you got to motivate yourself. You got to like what you see when you look in that mirror. And when you like that, man, that's the most empowering, powerful feeling in the world. And that comes from a sense of accomplishment, Adama. So it's you that's decided to take action. I think a good coach is good at taming the fire. But, you know, I've never charged for coaching services. I used to try to get a reciprocal relationship out of it, because at the end of the day, it's impossible to ignite a fire. I'm lighting a fire. It's impossible to ignite a fire in somebody's belly. That fire is either there and it's not there. And if you don't do it for yourself, I know that for me, the love of my life is my child. I know that at the end of the day, I need to lead by example. And there are times that I've had money and there are times that I have no money. But I never, ever, ever did not attack my life with a sense of passion and commitment. Is that fair? Honestly. He's like, go away, don't ask me questions. He's 19 years old.
I thoroughly agree. I thoroughly agree. And electricity or energy, you know, if it's just loose and not centered, it can just destroy stuff. It's not going to accomplish. But when you take that electricity, that energy, and you channel it, you know, through a wire, you know, now you got productivity. I mean, you're bringing out things that I learned, you know, 4 years ago in my first professional sales training, you know, the calendar and everything. And I know what I need. I need, not necessarily encouragement, but I need the pieces.
You need direction. You need direction. You need to know what to do, when to do it, how to say it. That's different than coaching. What I think most coaches is, why didn't you do that? I mean, they're trying to understand people's why. People need to understand their own why. But I'll give you all of the tools and systems. Guys, let's take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna get something to drink, use the bathroom, and then I'll see you back in 5 minutes. Sound good? I'm gonna do your entire drip campaign, which is essential. Because if you're gonna spend time prospecting, you need to have an automated system in place that assists you in facilitating these relationships and moving them across the finish line. I'll be right back.
Hey, Chris, I had to change devices. Can you put the Calendly link back in the chat, please?
Miami Beach. 603. Miami Beach. 33140. Yeah. You want to eat in tonight? You want to go out to dinner? If you want, I'll take you for good Italian food, Fort Lauderdale. We can go to Anthony's Runway, which is really good. All right.
Go into Cayocho and some Thai food.
Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. I'll spend time with you, Alyssa. And then
Sushi.
I have 3 calls after this, and then I'm done. And I'm all yours. All right. Okay. All right, guys, you ready? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Before we delve into your drip campaign, any comments, questions, concerned about calendaring? Did it strike a chord with you? Are you committed to implement it? So I'm going to tell you, without it, the chances of taking your business in the direction you want to is really nil. So I'd love some feedback, a commentary about the calendaring. Don't everybody speak at once.
I remember, 1,000 years ago when I first had professional sales training at Aetna Life and Casualty.
Mm-hmm.
We had that. We had a calendar, and each hour was blocked in, and I was so in tune that if I was like waiting for gas or something, I would always find something to do to fill in that time. And it's amazing going back to literally back to the first basics I learned like in the 80s, is still relevant today. The basics, these basic tenets are true still now. It's awesome.
Thanks, Adele. Anybody else? Any commentary? Did a light go on for anybody? Any thoughts or feelings that you want to share? Guys, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I know that sometimes it's hard to speak in front of large groups, but this is your class. As I mentioned before, I'm simply here to facilitate. I want to check our egos at the door, and I want you to know that, I want to hear from you. I think it's important because I think when you articulate what you're feeling, you're more apt to implement what's being taught. So any other feedback that you have regarding calendaring, how you may do things?
I had a quick comment, I guess. One of the things that kind of like a little light bulb went on for me was when you said that the tool that we had before that would give us the dollar amount, that would give us the number of meetings that we need to sync up with your calendar. It kind of went off in my head of, okay, well, I need to do X amount of meetings to get X amount of listings or X amount of, sales. And I was like, okay, well, I've got this blank in my calendar that I need to either go out and do a listing presentation or go out and take somebody out to do a buyer listing, if you will. And I was like, okay, well, now it's on my calendar. And now I got to really go out there and prospect to fill in that calendar, to fill in that date. And it really kind of clicked.
Yep. Thanks, Michael. It's been a key metric of mine. Yep.
Hi, this is Paris. So I'm brand new. So I've always worked with the calendar a little bit. But I mean, the information as far as like implementing and where to start, I'm really just learning how to block this calendar off. Most of it for me is a lot of training right now, but really trying to take action as much as possible as far as reaching out to friends and family and letting them know that, this is what I'm doing now. And trying to prospect and get as many leads as possible. So I'm really, really just forming this and getting things rolling.
You said something that was so delightful to hear. You said, I'm really looking forward to prospecting and getting leads. And the reality is, Paris, I want you to hear this message loudly. Being all creatures of habits, all human beings are creatures of habits. And unfortunately, some of the habits that we sometimes adopt are not beneficial to what it is that we want to accomplish. And I want to say to you as a new agent, you haven't been tarnished with lots of bad habits. I know one of my buddies, Will Estrada, is right here and runs a brokerage. And I mean, people that are in a position of being responsible for others, I think will tell you, I know Phil has had a brokerage in the past. You know, you want to get out of the gate with that pure and healthy mindset of running your business the right way from the get-go. So what you said was really, really refreshing. Don't question yourself for being new. Pat yourself in the back from being able to come at this with having no negative mindset and doing this the right way right out of the gate. Would you agree with that, Will?
Absolutely. And even, I mean, the training, these coaching classes are helping everybody with what to do in that time block. I mean, we were talking about the for sale by owners with Landvoice, and there are many, many other tools and things that would allow us to basically fill that time and really focus on the important activities that are really going to be producing. And this is the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. And when people were asking before, I mean, how to do all these things with time, because there are so many things, there is a group of things that we do that really have not a lot of value. And these are the things that we really have to ditch completely, or we have to delegate to somebody else. In other words, 20% of what we do really brings 80% of our results. And that we have to identify that 20%. And that's what you are helping us do here through these classes. And I'm really thankful for that. And what to do, because what happens with people, with a lot of people, mainly new agents, is they time block, but they don't know what to do, or they get the distraction that everybody gets. And then they don't do anything. They don't do the important, they don't do the unimportant. In other words, then in 2 years, they decide to leave the business altogether. And that's happens a lot.
Yeah,
I want to piggyback
something if possible.
Yeah, please, Philip.
Yeah, no, what I was saying, as an agent or as self-employed in any industry, you know, you're not told what to do. You have a job, you know, you go to a job, you punch in, you have a list of items to complete, and then you punch out and go home and your job's done. See, the calendar is your list of items to do. And if you know what you want to do, so you have to determine, as a real estate agent, there's so many things you can do. You can do nothing, or, you know, you can set up, okay, I'm going to, you know, call for sale by owners, or I'm going to call expired listings, or I'm going to door knock. There's so many things you can do. You just have to decide what you want to do, place it, and take an hour a week and make that calendar, or 15 minutes a week, whatever you're going to take, make that calendar and look at that calendar as it's your boss. And it's not just as a real estate agent, it's any business you're in. You got to be able to have something to hold you accountable. And that calendar, like you're saying, you know, you don't break it for anything unless there's like a super crazy emergency.
Yep.
That calendar is like your Bible, and that's your boss. If you don't do your you know, if you get a list of things to do at work and you don't do them, your boss is going to fire you. So that calendar has to be, you know, being an entrepreneur and being self-employed, people think it's easy and it's this glamorous life. No, because the only way you're successful is if you're able to hold yourself to that accountability. And I think, you know, using the calendar the way you're saying is, I think, huge. And for Paris starting out as a new agent, you just have to decide on what you want to do and then just do it to your best ability. And you're going to make mistakes. Who cares, man? Somebody's going to hang up on you. You're going to stutter and say the wrong thing to them. Who cares? You know, one of the things I always told agents that I'm working with is, listen, you know, our loved ones, people we care about, tell us no all the time. What do we care about a stranger that's telling us no and telling us to go screw ourselves or whatever they're saying? Who cares? I mean, our loved ones, our kids tell us no all the time. So why do we care what a stranger thinks of us? And that's how I look at it when I'm calling these people, you know?
You know, I love when people share. Rose, I see that you want to say something. Rose, I see that you want to share something. I want to say something really quick. I love that what Philip and Will just said. I just want to touch on this. And I think that's one of the reasons I love when you guys share, because so much comes up for me. And one of the things that I wanted to convey to you is that Will and/or Philip had mentioned the 80-20 rule. I even think that number today is like 90-10, meaning that 10% of the agents do 90% of the business. What would it make you feel like personally, what would it make you feel like? How would it affect you spiritually and emotionally? Forget financially for a second, okay? Let's wipe that out. What would it make you feel like spiritually and emotionally to be one of the top 10, to be able to look in that mirror every morning and go, I'm really good at what I do? How do you think that would impact you? Rosa, what do you got for me? Rosa, you're muted, hon. Rosa, you're muted.
I think she's on a call.
Sorry, I got on the phone. I'm trying to salvage a closing here.
No worries.
No, I just put something in the chat box. It's Saver Life Planner. My niece is an attorney in Nevada. She has 3 kids, very, very busy life. She actually follows the life planner. She, puts in her meetings, calendars, and her appointments, court dates, etc. But she plans her day. It includes meals. It includes time with friends, follow up, letters to write. But it's, it's a great source for her. She'll go somewhere, take a picture, everything goes in the planner. So her ritual is actually every week. She updates it. She knows what she's doing, where she's going, what she wants to accomplish. And at the end of the week, she'll treat herself to something because she's accomplished everything. So you can imagine an attorney, in court all the time, she really, plans on the planner. So maybe, I've always said, oh yeah, that's really funny because she's so OCD. But maybe, that's something that I'll take up. But anyway,
I hope so. I think you'll see it impact your business, Rosa, in a really impactful way. Guys, I'm going to get into your drip campaign.
She manages to go through hell weeks.
Yeah.
But the planner really, really helps her.
I'm going to take you through your drip campaign, and I think this is one of the most important tools to really have clearly defined. Because if you don't have a drip campaign in place that assists you, it should be automated, and if it should be used to assist you to facilitate relationships and move them forward in the selling cycle. It should be used as a manner to really move those relationships along the food chain. It's highly, highly critical. What do you need to have in order to implement a drip campaign? What do you need to have, do you think?
Database.
Say it again, Patty?
Database.
You need to have a database management system. And we talked about this in class 2. You need to have a database management system that is comfortable to you. What constitutes a good database management system is something that's user-friendly to you. And what may be good for me may be bad for Rosa or Deborah Lee or Philip. So you have to identify a CRM that's comfortable to use. So how does your database management system work, right? If you're out prospecting, right? And you capture somebody, you identify somebody who's got the need for your professional services and they're receptive to doing business with you, you're going to come back to your office, and what's the first thing you're going to do?
Put them in your system.
You're going to put them into your CRM, your database management system. And what's that going to do is that's going to trigger your drip campaign. So I put together a drip campaign because the drip campaign is my roadmap, how to take these relationships that I identified and turn those prospects into clients. And it's really defined. I don't know if I did a lot of things well in real estate. I think one of the things I did really well was honor my calendar. So I think I was really clear about that. But I also knew that if I was going to spend 80% of my day prospecting, door knocking, really grinding, then I was going to have the best drip campaign out there that was going to assist me in solidifying those relationships. That was like a no-brainer. Can you imagine doing all that work prospecting and then not having a good drip campaign? That would almost be like, putting a loaded gun to your head. That's just crazy.
Yeah. I had that. Yes.
So we're going to talk about a drip campaign that is really well defined. And I use 3 important tools for my drip campaign, and I'm going to get into that now. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I am going to pull up drip campaign right here. Oh, awesome. Okay. So there are 2 different databases that you have in a drip campaign. One of them is qualified prospects, which have a higher conversion ratio, and the other ones would be considered what? Non-qualified. So I know it's going to be a little confusing as I describe what a non-qualified database is, but I promise you there are going to be some, it's going to become clearer as I go through the presentation. So all of your prospects, as we talked about before, should be driven to your individual websites, to your websites where people could set up property searches. This again is a branding opportunity. I'm going to first talk about your qualified database. So a qualified database is somebody in your database who has earned the opportunity for you. They've earned the opportunity for you to be willing to take the time, effort, and resources to move that relationship forward. I categorize all of my leads into 3 categories: hot, warm, and cold. But before you get into that database, I have to have a very strong sense of comfort knowing, based on how you answer the questions that I pose to you, that you're going to be buying or selling real estate within 2 years, and that you're open-minded about working with me as your real estate professional. I categorize all of my leads into hot, warm, and cold. Really simple. And you're going to get this. You don't have to write this down. You're going to get these notes momentarily. But I just want you to hear this. I want you to let this kind of sink in. A hot lead is somebody that is going to be buying or selling real estate within the next 90 days. They're hot. They're buying or selling within the next 90 days. A warm lead is someone who's buying or selling from 3 months or 90 days out to 9 months. So they're going to buy or sell from 90 days to 9 months. And a cold lead is going to be buying or selling from 9 months out to 24. Make sense? So a hot lead, they're going to buy within 90 days. A warm lead, Lizette, is 90 days to 9 months. And a cold lead is 9 months to 2 years. All right, here we go. We're going to take a little survey. How many of you on the call today, I can only see page 1, would rather have hot leads than cold leads? Raise your hands. I can see you all. Ooh, almost everybody. I got to go to page 2 for this. Page 2. Well, only half of you have on your videos. Page 2, I can't see anybody other than Lisa. Okay, so most of you raised your hands and said you'd rather have hot leads than cold leads. Okay. How many of you got married to your spouse the first night that you met them? Folks, my message here is it takes a while to properly, how do I raise my hand, Joanna? Joanna, you may have your video off. So if most people don't get married the first night that they meet their future spouse, because it takes a while to cultivate and nurture a relationship, I would encourage you not to put any more emphasis on your hot leads than you do your cold leads. What do I mean by that? Let's say that my buddy Michael Freeman is going to buy or sell real estate within 90 days, and I just meet Michael. Michael is going to have somebody assist him making his biggest purchase or dispose of his most important asset. I have a very small window, Philip, of nurturing and cementing a relationship in 90 days. Would you agree? In the same way that someone's typically not going to agree to marry me on the first date. It takes a while to build that sense of trust and confidence. But if Michael is a cold lead, and I now have an extended window to properly brand and build that relationship, my goal, Adama, is if I do anything short of drooling on him or highly offending him, I'm going to have a very strong likelihood of having an opportunity to go in a listing presentation or do what I call a buyer's consultation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
yes.
To me, a cold lead, if worked properly, that person has already written me a check. Pedro, man, I'm simply waiting to walk to the bank to cash it. Don't discount. It is much harder to convert a hot lead because of the time that you've known that person than a cold lead. Does that make sense to everybody on the call? Really important. I see agents doing that all the time. And I want to tell you, I think Mike Ferry is a great coach, considerably better than me, much more famous, much wealthier. I'm better looking, but he has all the other qualities. That was a joke. The reality is Mike Ferry, the reality is Mike has been talking about for years. Are you motivated to sell your home? No? Then I'm not motivated to sell it for you. That's ridiculous, because it takes a while to nurture and cement a relationship. It's not about right here, right now. It's about cultivating these relationships and building trust and confidence so they want to do business with you. And that's where I'm different than Mike. Does that make sense,
Can I
Lisa?
say something real quick?
Please.
Sold new homes for active adult seniors. We would nurture them for over a year to get the deal. It was a long sales process. Anyways, I just thought I would inject that. Sometimes it would take over a year.
And Patty was one of the best new home sales agents in the country. So, you know, thank you for injecting. I think the reality is that, again, focus on building relationships. And all that means is a cold lead. The window of opportunity to really cement that relationship is longer. You have more opportunity. Does it make sense to everybody?
Yes, yes. I can see now why some of the people that I met a year or a year and a half ago are now calling me. Oh, I'm ready to buy, you know. I didn't realize that. Sometimes it really does take a while. Yeah, thank you.
It does. So I use a 3-prong approach to solidifying and cementing these relationships. The first approach I take is using the phone. And why using the phone? Because it is the best way to get to know somebody. It's not through a text and it's not through an email, because if selling is about solving people's problems and meeting people's needs, we need to have appropriate conversations where we can ask questions. So the phone is critical. And when you meet somebody, it's not efficient from a time standpoint to go out and drive to their home to ask them a question. So the phone is still the best methodology of really moving that relationship forward. So critical components to making a successful phone call. Let's talk about this for a second. All right, there are 4 things that I want you to consider before picking up the phone. Number 1, guys, please hear this. Being a great salesperson is not about talking a lot. It's actually talking less and being a good listener. The person the person whose business you're trying to earn is the person who's on stage. You're there to observe and learn how to serve them. And the only way to do that is to be cognizant, to ask questions with the intent of keeping them engaged so they can provide you with the necessary information so you know how to best serve. So don't be focused on talking. Try to almost put yourself on a clock, a time clock. And if you're speaking for more than 30 seconds, less is more. Stop. Stop yourself. You're not going to win them over by telling them how great you are. You're going to win them over by them sharing with you and them feeling like they were heard. So be cognizant to ask questions with the intent in keeping people engaged, number 1. Number 2, this is really, really important. Number 2, smile prior to picking up the phone. I know this sounds quirky, but it's not. Smile and maintain a positive mindset prior to picking up the phone. If you're having a crappy day, don't call that day. I am sure that we could all agree. Come on. You ever know that you're going to have a bad phone call and what happens? Joanna, you know what I'm talking about? You know you're going to have a bad phone call, and innately you're going to have a bad phone call. You've programmed that call to be bad. If you're having a crappy day, yesterday I was really tired. Jackson got in late. We were up till 2:30 talking. I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I felt like I was in a comatose state. I was dragging throughout the day. Had some great conversations with many of you. Adama, Philip, I had some great conversations yesterday. But man, there was no way that I was doing active prospecting. I wasn't in the right mindset. I couldn't put on that smile. And that's okay, I'm human. But then I needed to be smart enough to say, okay, Eric, back up and push this off until tomorrow. Okay, so be cognizant of smiling prior to picking up the phone. Number 3, standing will allow you to project better. It expands your esophagus and you speak with greater energy. I typically, when I am lead generating, when I'm in a conversation with somebody, I'm typically standing up. And number 4, and I can't tell you how critical this is, identify what you like to be the outcome of the call prior to dialing the phone. Don't pick up the phone and blindly engage somebody. Understand what is the intent of the outcome. Where do you want to take this conversation? Really, really important. How the phone works is the following way. So again, this is all going to be in your class notes. If somebody is a hot lead, they're moving within the next 90 days, you're going to call them as often as necessary in order to secure an appointment. You're going to be all over them like white on rice. They're about to buy or sell, Adama, so you're going to need to stay locked in and engage with them and don't let them wither away. If somebody's a warm lead that's going to buy or sell from 90 days out to 9 months, you're going to call them once every 6 weeks. You're going to call them once every 6 weeks. If somebody's a cold lead, they're going to buy or sell from 9 months out to 2 years, you're going to call them once a quarter. So what happens, Noel, watch. As somebody is cold, right? And they move closer to their timeline and go from warm to hot, you're going to call them with greater frequency, right? Cold lead, you're going to call once a quarter, a warm lead every 6 weeks, a hot lead as often as possible. So as they move forward on their timeline, Madama, you're going to call them with greater frequency. That's all. Does that make sense to everybody? Why do I have it this structured? Because the greatest fear, listen to me, I think I was a really good real estate salesperson. But I went into that mode of tremendous fear. If I just met Pedro Andrade and he said to me, Eric, I'm going to buy or sell within 2 years and I'm open to doing business with you, my greatest fear was being a pain in the neck. I didn't want to be overwhelming. You know what I mean, Joanna? I didn't want to feel like I was strangling him. I just got his contact information and I'm hammering. So what I did is I put together these timelines and then I drew a diagram of the right questions to ask to take away my fear or anxiety or my anxiety of calling. Because we all have it. We meet somebody, oh, I wonder how they're going to react when I call them back. I wonder if they're going to find me to be overwhelming. So I put together a schedule and I put together what I thought was the right or the appropriate questions so I didn't get nervous. Because I'm just like you. I was nervous picking up the phone. But by having the questions, I armed myself with the right ammunition, which I wouldn't get nervous. Let's take a look at this together.
Can I ask you something, please, Eric?
Please.
Hi, I'm Stella. I'm new. I'm just visiting your space for the second time, and I'm really so impressed, and thank you. I come back to real estate after some time that I had off. And right now I'm from New York City, very, very peculiar city for real estate. Mm-hmm. And I have some buyers, as you say, that they say hot, they are going to buy by August. Then I send some properties and then always they ask me that the land lease they have, and then they disappear for a while, like for 2 weeks. Is that, as you say, I've overwhelmed them to keep up with them or not? Because as you know, we don't show properties here. We don't meet with the clients here. We just talk over the phone and over the email.
So Stella, it is, right?
Yes, Eric, thank you.
Stella, I'm going to tell you, when you start going to work for a buyer, I'm a big believer. I never go from meeting a buyer to a car. I go from a buyer to a meeting in my office or a coffee shop where I have a consultation. And it's at that consultation where we're setting rules of engagement in terms of what they should expect from me, but what I should expect from them as well. And they know when I'm calling them, Stella, that I'm calling them with a value add, that there's a property that they want to talk to me about because it meets their buying wants and needs. And that's why it's so important to have that first meeting. So I am super clear what are their wants and needs. So I think that from the very first meeting, you don't want to have a phone conversation. You want to have a face-to-face. Are you talking about because of the pandemic?
Yes.
You couldn't have a face-to-face? Got it.
Not allowed to meet people, show listings.
I understand.
Now I try to be a little savvy with video, Zooming and everything. So I would love if I can be accommodating my first meeting through Zooming, but I would love, because I see you give so much information, to have the questionnaires, you say, wants, needs, what to ask. But I'm trying to work. And as a matter of fact, I have made an offer with a person that I never met. Really, and I don't know how his face looks like because I didn't even Google. I'm very, very stupid and behind that. I'm 66, so I'm not savvy. but those people now they come to buy. But I think if I was a little more savvy on doing real estate like you, I will be able to do something better because I know.
Stella, for the sake of time, because I've got to get through this, but I want to say something to you. You're just as savvy as I am. Everything that I'm talking about over these classes, I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to think I'm not being, that I am being disingenuous or I'm not being authentic. Everything that I'm doing is rehearsed. Do you understand that? It's been practiced over and over again. I'd have to be a bumbling idiot not to be able to perform. So I am no better than you are. I was a 30-year-old pseudo-sophisticated beach bum. I lived in Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach, and I played beach volleyball, and I had no career. And I come from a family of overachievers where my younger brother's a vascular surgeon. My sister's a doctor, married to a doctor. The family's crazy successful. And man, I couldn't look in the mirror and take myself seriously. So Stella, I'm no better or worse than you are. I appreciate the compliments, but everything that I'm doing has been rehearsed and practiced and trained over and over again. I mean, would I jump on a call with 70 people today or 60 people, however many people on the line today, and not know the direction I was going to take the conversation? And the same thing, Stella, is going to happen with your buyers. And I'm going to take you through a buyer presentation. But you're going to ask strong, penetrating questions, and you're going to set expectations and the rules of engagement so you could perform at a very high level. But Stella, all of this, again, has been really learned and internalized so I could implement and share with others. And anybody, and I mean this with all of my heart, on this call today could absolutely do what I do if you took the time to internalize it. You know, half of what I'm talking about is scripts, it's systems. I said to you in the first call, you know, Pedro and Johnny may like McDonald's, and Will may like In-N-Out Burger, and Joanna may like Burger King, and Michael may like Jackson, what's the hell the name of the hamburger joint? Whatever, Wendy's. But the reality is,
Five Guys.
That's what I was thinking of. Thank you, Todd. Five Guys. But the reality is this: we each have our individual preferences. But regardless of which one of those places that we went to, when we drove up, we would know exactly what that product's going to taste like because they've got a process that's been perfected over and over. All I'm doing, Stella, is I'm teaching systems. I'm teaching you systems, giving you my real estate franchise. I'm giving you my real estate playbook. And you're going to do great at this. And I love the fact.
Give you a comment. Take it or leave it. I have started, I'm 66, I have studied here, civil engineering, City College, but I'm very stupid to what you say because I have learned in my MBA leadership. I have seen Tom Ferry sometimes. I have seen people there and Keller Williams, but really it's not to compliment. Otherwise I wouldn't take this to tell you. The way that you present it is so juicy and down to the point and clear and everything, and really I don't like to take more time. Thank you very much. Because
Thank you so much for saying that. I feel like I've got to be good at something because I got to tell you, I am like the least handy man in the world. When I want to appear sexy in my ass, I can't fix a thing. I've got to wear a construction belt to pull it off. So I got to be good at something, right? Thank you, Stella.
The way that you get the information, that's why I just joined and I will try to find out more. Thank you.
Thanks, Stella. I appreciate it.
Eric, I just want to say something too, real quick. It's because you know how to do it. When you know how to do it, you can break it down to actionable steps and teach it. 90%, 95% of people out there don't know how to do it. They just talk. You know, Keller Williams, people teaching classes, like, you know, out there, like you got all these people teaching stuff. They don't know how to do it.
Right.
They're teaching theory. You know what I mean? But when you really know how to do it, that's why it's clear. Because you're telling people step by step how to do it. And that's the difference, man. And that's even I mean, like Mike Ferry's great concepts and rah-rah. But when it comes down to doing it, same thing. It's just general. But when you have the ability to break it down and truly help people, because listen, everybody on this class, if you just apply this, you're going to do you can do 5 deals a month easy. Even if you do 3 deals a month, how will that change your life? You know, do the math. It's a lot of money, you know, and it's just putting it and applying it. I mean, it's really amazing what you're giving people, man.
Thanks. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, guys. So I want the phone call. So I want to go review this and I want to get through this. It's really important. So you guys feel like you got a lot of content today. So, so again, 4 things, quick review: cognizant to ask questions, smile prior to picking up the phone. If you're not in the mood, don't do it. Standing and understand what do you want what is the objection, or what do you want the outcome of the call to be prior to making the phone call. So again, you're going to call cold lead. You call a cold lead once a quarter, a warm lead every 6 weeks, and a hot lead as often as possible. You are going to ask the following 6 questions. And I put this together because I was afraid. I don't know how more honest I could be. I would fumble on the phone and go, I'm a pretty good salesperson, but I don't know what to do. So I scripted what to do, which took away my anxiety of making the call. One of 6 things is going to happen in every one of the calls when you pick up the phone. If they're a hot lead, you're going to ask for the appointment. Right? It makes sense. If they're a hot lead, we talked about this before, you're going to ask for the appointment. The second thing, on every call you are on, you are going to ask for a referral. To not ask for a referral is a wasted phone call. And it's as simple as saying, I'm sure that you are aware that real estate is a referral-based business. And I feel comfortable in asking you the following. Do you perhaps know of a friend, a relative, or a coworker that may have an interest in moving to our neighborhood? Or do you know perhaps maybe 3 of the neighbors on either side of you, or 5 across the street, that have mentioned the possibility of selling their home now or in the near future? Ask for the referral. To not do that is a wasted sales opportunity. Number 3, you jointly agree on the next plan of action to move the prospect forward in the sales cycle. So if I am calling Will Estrada and Will says to me, Eric, not a great time to speak. Got it, Will. When would be a good time to call you back? Well, me and the family are going to Hawaii next week. We'll be gone for 2 weeks. Why don't you call me back the week after that? So we'll want to wish you a good trip. Just want to make sure I have this clear. So I'm going to follow up with you on June 18th. Typically, any better times, the earlier, latter part of the afternoon is good to call. Will, what I'd like to do at that time is I noticed that you are getting close to your move up date. I'd love to set an appointment on our next phone call to come out and preview the property to ensure that it's in pristine condition and can sell at maximum value. Does it sound right for me to call you around the 18th or so? That's great, Eric. So what you're going to do is you're going to jointly agree on the next plan of action to take to move Will forward in the selling cycle. Why is having a CRM important? Because when I'm talking to Will, gathering this information, I'm putting in my database exactly what Will is telling me.
Yes.
When I was an active agent, I had 800 people in my database that I knew were going to buy or sell within 2 years and were open to doing business with me. What is the first question I'm going to ask Will when I speak to him on June 18th? In an effort to build rapport, I'm going to say, how was
your trip?
How was your
How was
trip?
Hawaii? What did you do? I'm going to build that rapport because people are going to do business with you. They like you, trust you, and deem you as being competent. This is why having a good CRM, Michael, is so darn important because it tracks the conversation and calendars when you have to follow up. So as Will is telling me he's going to Hawaii, I'm inputting that into my CRM. Maria's going, Eric, I can't believe you know that. You're like a tech dummy. See, Maria, I got 1 or 2 things up my sleeve. So having a good CRM is absolutely pertinent to track the conversation, but I want you to make sure that you mutually agree on what is the next call to action to move Will or your client forward into the selling cycle.
Eric, can we go back to the CRM because I feel like I'm missing something.
Okay.
So you've been talking about the CRM. The only people you said that ought to be going into that CRM are people that you feel have can move forward in the cycle, people that, for lack of better words, aren't going to waste your time. You feel that you can work with in the future, whether it be right now, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, or 2 years from now, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what I've been doing, and I'm with the EXP, is I tried out this ideal estate thing where you're starting to get, ads that are coming through and everything else. I'm getting the impression that what you're saying is, look, if you do this the right way, you don't need to be buying leads or anything else. These people are going into your database. They're people that you know that are committed, that one way or another are going to make it. Though you haven't come out and said it, I'm getting the inference that you don't need to be doing that. Save your money and use it another way.
Listen, I mean, the top realtors in the country, Nicole Solari, Todd Watkins. I can go on and on and on. I don't know if Colette McDonald's on the phone today. I know Vicky's not on the phone. She's heading down to San Diego. I know the top agents don't have to. Phil's a mega agent. Philip, do you buy internet leads? Todd, Phil, you guys buy internet leads?
No, I literally use LandVoice, and I turn all my business off on LandVoice.
Todd?
No, I mean.
Will Estrada?
No, I don't.
Lisa?
No, I don't.
Listen, Jim, it's not necessary. What I loved about the LandVoice platform is that they give you a defined audience, and they have a system to give to a homeowner that's free, that provides them an overwhelming benefit, so I can capture all of the buyer leads and put myself in a position to ultimately list the property. But I'm not buying any leads. I'm focusing on building relationships with people by using my communication skills and reaching out to them. That's a lot more effective, and time is better spent instead of weeding through internet leads than fostering relationships with people.
Well, I inferred that, but you didn't say that, and so I figured, okay, it makes sense.
All right, that's fair. All right,
Eric,
let
I
me
have
see.
a question, Joanna.
Please.
Okay,
Yep.
so what about all these people that we know that we don't know are going to be buying in 24 months? What are we doing with them? Just
Well,
when
you're
it's
not gonna-
appropriate, address that.
So with the people that you don't know for certain that are going to buy within 24 months, you mean they could be
Right.
friends of yours?
Yeah, I've got, 2,000 people that I know a little bit.
So they're going to go, if you don't know that they're going to buy or sell within 2 years, and they're not, they haven't been clear that they're receptive to doing business, they're going to go in your, what do you think they're going to go in? So we talked about two different types of databases.
Okay,
Qualified,
those are going in my
they're going
non-qualified.
to go in your non-qualified, but they're not non-qualified. There's a caveat. So it's going to confuse you a little bit. I'm going
Okay.
to get through there.
Sorry,
'Cause
I jumped again on that. Appreciate
No,
it.
but based on the definition, you're right. Like if somebody who just sold your home, who you just sold a home to, or purchased a home through you, based on what I've said so far, you wouldn't remain in contact with them. You would. They'd be in your non-qualified database, but there's a caveat, and you're going to stay in touch with them, and I'm going to show you how to do that.
Wonderful.
Guys, I'm going to have to get through this. I'm going to try to, if I'm going too fast, stop me. Number 4, you're going to re-qualify to ensure that your time is well spent. So Joanna, I have it here in my notes that you plan on moving to New Mexico due to a job transfer, and I believe the time was about 16 to 18 months. You know, Eric, I'm no longer moving. The company scrapped the plans, and I never plan on moving. I'm going to die in this house. What am I going to do with Diane? What am I going to do with Joanna?
Move me to your non-qualified list.
Bingo. I'm going to put her into my non-qualified database. Number 5, you're going to inquire if they have any questions in particular to the valuation of their home or the overall market. You're going to ask the question because when you got most of the leads, you said, I want to keep you abreast of what's happening with the real estate market. If I see any changes in the valuation, I want to be in a position to reach out. So you want to build that credibility and say, hey, since I have you in the horn, I had mentioned I was going to keep you abreast. Any questions that you have regarding the valuation of your home or the overall market, and 99% of the time they're going to say no, but you did ask that question. And the 6th question that you're going to ask on every call is you're going to ask them something personally about their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And I typically do this around holidays. It's so easy. So I wanted to wish you a happy Easter, you and the family staying in town, a great Thanksgiving. And you ask questions, easy to do around the holidays, but build that relationship by asking, not telling. Don't tell them that you're going on vacation. Ask them what they're going on vacation. They like to do that often, right? Build that relationship using the acronym FORD. So the phone is used to take the relationship that I identified and drill deep and move that relationship forward. The second tool that I use, and I'm going to email this out to you, and I'm going to need to work on this, so you'll have this over the course of the next few weeks. I've created a camera-ready postcard campaign where, Jim, all you have to put on it is your name, face, logo, and tagline. And the goal of this postcard campaign, you guys are going to love this, is to evoke a reaction. It's to make someone smile so they think, wow, that was clever. It is different. Does anybody remember the old Wendy's commercial where that old woman got on there and looked at the hamburger and said, where's the beef?
Absolutely.
You remember how viral that thing went, Philip? I mean, that was over the top successful.
Yes.
It basically cemented Wendy's place in the fast food market. So I'm going to send you out a postcard campaign which evokes a positive reaction. Trust me, people aren't going to take this postcard and put it up as wallpaper. What I want it to do is simply evoke a smile and go, that was cute and that's different. I want to evoke an emotion. That's it. What do the postcard campaign look like? For information regarding politics, call, I'm not going to name anybody, call the US president at this number. For information regarding the internet highway, call Bill Gates at this number. For information regarding any and all of your real estate needs, call none other than Will Estrada. And there's a picture of Will standing on his desk with his arms crossed. So for congratulations to the gold medal winners in the 2000 and what year is this? 2020 Summer Olympics, although there's no Olympics this summer. Congratulations to the gold medal winners in the 2020 Summer Olympics. Your gold medal winner for real estate in all of Santa Clarita is none other than Jim Trouse, right? And Jim is standing there in the middle of the Olympic rings. And all I want them to go is, wow, creative, cute, and distinguishes you from every other realtor in the market. Have you guys ever seen the movie I Love You, Man? That's something to do with Jackson tonight. It's a really cute movie. And what it is it's Paul Rudd. And Paul Rudd is a frustrating realtor who couldn't sell a house if his life depended on it. And he's got this friend, Jason Segel, who's over the top. And his goal is to get, Todd, you've seen this, I'm thinking, right?
This is where you post all the gay guy ads, right?
So, Paul Rudd. I wasn't going to put it like that, but some, yeah.
Okay.
So Paul.
Well, I'm not as PC.
No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. So Paul Rudd couldn't sell his way out of a paper bag, and his buddy is Jason Segel. And like Todd said, Jason Segel is committed to get Paul Rudd out of his rut, right? And just to kind of find his way in the world. And he takes these crazy billboards. Remember Todd, and puts it in Sunset Boulevard and along the Santa Monica bus line. And it's Paul Rudd wearing a cowboy hat and his underwear, wearing a lasso or swinging around a lasso. And the reason it was so spectacular is that people started thinking, wow, repetition's the mother of learning. And he distinguished Paul Rudd as being different. And it really impacted his real estate career. I try to use the same approach with the postcard campaign.
Yeah.
I send these postcards out. They're already completely ready for you. And all you have to do is put your name, face, logo, and tagline on it. They're camera ready. And you mail it out on the 15th and you mail it out on the 30th to evoke a positive reaction so you stay fresh and in front of mind. And the last way that I drip on somebody, so again, the phone was used to drive the relationship deep, build rapport. The postcard campaign is to evoke a reaction. And thirdly, everybody, when I'm on the phone with them, I ask them, I learn about where is it they want to move? Are they thinking about selling their home? And my intent by asking those questions is to set them up in what's called a property search. So I am the person, I am the real estate professional that's providing them relevant and pertinent information as it pertains to real estate. That is my drip campaign, and it is so clearly defined. The phone to drive the relationship, postcards to evoke a reaction, and to distinguish myself as the professional that's providing them relevant and pertinent information. I promise you, if you take the time to put this in place, it's simple. I've given you all the guidelines, how to use the phone. You will absolutely start converting more of your prospects to clients. Let's talk about your non-conventional, Eric, what's the word I'm looking for?
Non-qualified.
Non-qualified, thanks, Adana. Your non-qualified database. So there is a caveat. Do you send postcards, hot, warm, and leads, or to everyone? Great question, Marisol. Everybody gets the postcards. The only difference between my qualified and non-qualified database is I don't call based on the definition I gave you before. But everybody in my non-qualified database, great question, is set up on a property search and gets those postcards. Everybody. The only difference is I don't use the phone definition in my non-qualified database, meaning calling once a quarter, once every 6 weeks, and hot. How I work my non-qualified database, which is very important. It's all of my past clients that if I stay in touch with, I'm still going to get their business, right? It's my past clients. It's my sphere of influences. And I work this the following way. And I talked to you about this in the last class. Everybody in my non-qualified database is contacted based on the first letter of their last name. A's are called on week 1, B's are called on week 2, C's are called on week 3, which means everybody in my non-qualified database is going to be contacted twice a year, and I am going to break bread with a minimum of 3 of them each and every week, asking for business and staying in touch with them. Your non-qualified database is as important as your qualified database. I just don't know if they're buying or selling within 2 years, but that doesn't mean out of sight, out of mind. It's very much in front of me. It's focused on building out the relationships, both databases. Having said that, Joanna, my goal is not to have 100,000 people in my database. I need to have a relationship with them. They have to be a sphere of influence, be a past client, a current client, or they have to be somebody that I've identified as buying or selling within a 2-year period and open to doing business with me. I'm going to tell you, I was known in the industry for having a really good drip campaign, because for me to door knock 200 doors a day and to build Adama, that type of prospects, I needed help, man. I needed a process in place that would assist me in moving these relationships forward. And my database management system, at 4 p.m., I was in that office making those calls every day. And you want to have a CRM where your calendar, where it immediately pops up for you, the calls that you have to make that day. There were days that I had 80 calls to make when I had 800 people in my database. The beautiful thing about working the system is the following. Will, what happens if I didn't make those 80 calls that day? What would happen the next day?
Make those calls.
They'd roll over and slap you in the
Terrible hair
face.
loss from anxiety, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I'd be pulling my hair out of my head. So a good CRM holds you accountable and forces you to take action and move all the relationships forward. I got a couple of minutes to answer any questions, comments, or concerns. Please, again, remember to reach out and schedule your one-on-one with me. Happy to sit down and talk to you and help you move your business forward in the right direction. Questions, comments, concerns? I got 10 minutes to give you whatever you need. Any questions, comments on anything that I've covered so far in the 3 classes?
I have some comments.
Noel, what do you got for me, pal?
I want to thank you first overall, Eric. Thank you for your time. This class has been pretty helpful. I've been in the industry now. I've had my license for 4 years, but I kind of been a part-time agent, doing a few deals here and there. And last year was kind of an off year for me. I didn't focus too much on the business. So I kind of feel now I'm kind of starting all over again. I feel like a new agent almost. So it feels really good to kind of get this blueprint and foundations to get started. And I like the cohesiveness of all the classes. The first class we started with, excuse me, with the economic model, so we can visualize and see our goals. That way we can know what we want. And then last class was about prospecting, so we know what we need to do to reach our goals. And then now with the calendar and time blocking, now we know when we need to do that. So we know what we want, we know what we need to do, and when to do it. And just to have a drip campaign now is going to be like a bang, 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 being able to get us on the right game plan to achieve our goals.
Hey, Noel, I've coached God knows how many realtors in my life. I want to say something to you. I can almost taste it today. Who's going to perform? Everything that we have done, you have participated in. The world is your oyster. You're taking action, and that's what's going to predicate your success. I'm delighted that you and I work so closely together, and I just, I love having you as someone who's really important to my team. I'm really going to enjoy watching you explode your real estate business.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to it.
I promise. Thanks, bud. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, Eric, this is Dan.
Hey, Dan, what you doing, buddy?
59, I decided to change careers, right? And
yeah.
What really resonated with me was when you talked about when you're working for somebody, the effort that you put in, right? At the risk of blowing my own horn, I've always been a model employee, always on time, well, always early, always got in early, left later than everybody else. Very dedicated, very, very dependable, and everything else. And what really resonated with me is when you said, why don't you do that for your own business? Do that for yourself. Now, at 60 years old, I would say 60 years young. I'm in pretty good shape. love people. So I just got to dedicate myself to my own business as I did for my past employers. And I think that's the key right there. And everything you're telling us makes total sense. And I got to say, I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thanks very much. What you say really resonated. You and I are in similar positions. I stayed in the same industry, but I try to be transparent, you know, and, you know, I fell in hard economic times a year ago. I mean, I had been, I don't know how else to say it. I'd been a millionaire in my life and I've lost it, made it, lost it, made it, lost it. And, you know, 59 years old and, you know, looking at starting over again and, you know, just trying to be honest and transparent can be scary, but you know what, we're still breathing and we still have the opportunity to learn. And I think we still have the opportunity to apply. And I think greatness lies in front of us if we choose to grab greatness. So congratulations and go for it, bud.
Appreciate it.
Grab the stars. Anybody else? Questions, comments? No?
Thank you for inspiring me to assist you to start really powerful. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I want to thank everybody for joining. I'll see you guys. Go ahead.
There was talk last time about getting together to do script practice. Did anything else come up?
You know, yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Let me kind of formulate, Joanna. You know, I've tried to do this in the live coaching classes. I just started doing these classes on a video setting, and in a lot of the classes, I would team people up to do scripting, and inevitably it would fall apart because one person would be more committed to the other person. So what I'm going to recommend in the next chat, hey Chris, I know you could hear me, bud, is I would like to put together a group, and I'll even participate in that group with you. I mean, I'll sit there. I don't want to man the group and be as involved as I am now, but I'll certainly sit in the sidelines and participate and convey. I'll probably convey more than you want me to convey. But I would love to do that for you, Joanna. So next time when we have some time to prepare, I'll talk to Chris about this. Chris is really good with marketing and kind of systems. We'll talk about forming a group, and whoever wants to participate will participate.
You know what we could do, just as a thought, is we could either do it on Facebook where we can all just, I know they have that new thing where everybody can talk, or we could do a Zoom call and we all kind of,
Zoom call.
I don't know. If we could have group interactions along with individual people saying it back and forth, maybe that's a phone call with your specific partner, but we're on a group Zoom or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'm receptive to it. Let me kind of flesh this out with Chris, but we'll definitely have some. I'll definitely bring that up.
Why don't we just create the Eric Orland fan group on Facebook?
Yeah, right.
And we can just all join there.
Right. That's only because you're my buddy. That's all. You're the only fan I have.
I doubt that, Eric.
Hey guys, I'm gonna launch this class every 2 weeks. So it's my commitment. You know, I really enjoy the class, right? It's fun. It keeps me engaged. It really keeps me young at heart, and it's what I really love doing. So if you have any friends, colleagues that you think would benefit from the class, please feel free to invite them. But I'll be launching the class every few weeks in an effort to continue to serve the real estate community.
We can repeat it because I lost the first classes.
Absolutely, Stella. Absolutely. Yep. Mm-hmm. Guys, have a great
Eric,
weekend.
for your time.
Thanks, Rosa. It's great to see you.
We really got a lot out of this, and I don't know, what, 2 hours. It's packed. Now we have the weekend to unpack it and, you know, start working on it. But I definitely appreciate it. I think we all do.
Thanks, Rosa. It's great seeing you, Rosa. Thank you for participating. Thank you all for participating. I really have a wonderful time interacting with you and getting to know all of you. And please sign up for one-on-one and one-on-one with me, and I'll see you guys Monday. Have a great weekend. As I love and embrace my kid, I'm going to love him up this weekend.
Yay! Have a great weekend. Have fun.
Enjoy everyone. Have a good weekend.